if you want to cook that up as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see in the draft as we come in. Coach Carrot probably has his red book with him. They will be starting off with the first ban of today's match. RSG, on the other hand, Coach Amux. I mean, this guy has been coaching for international teams, and then once what he brings to RSG's table, and remember the first season or the first match of this entire season,
Hmm.
RSG actually popped off. So I'm
Ah,
really excited to see how they play and how they draft around Bray now that uh, ultimately similar playstyle, similar hero pools between Yon and Bray. Just that Yon has no Bray has a little bit more confidence in the jungle scene because he
hmm,
has that international experience as well.
indeed. Now, my question also lies onto Bray because of his confidence. Just how much confidence does he have? Like, is he brimming with it? Because he's not exactly super fresh into this. I mean, he's technically kind of fresh in the scene again, right? Because there is a certain amount of hiatus, so he may be confident in the past, but you know, coming into MPLSG, how confident would he be? And if he continues to have that confidence and have that amount of resilience, there could be a possibility that he becomes overly aggressive in this lineup, which
Hmm.
I'm not too sure if whether that is going to go too well for them, considering the fact that CS actually is a goal laner that would actually take some time before popping off, right?
Yep.
Early game is not really a CS kind of game. He's a lot more of a late game monster. Throw any marksman that is great at late game, he will be able to carry the game.
100% agree. And also adding on to that fact is that Bray doesn't have a lot of time to adapt to the synergy of the new RSG,
Mm.
especially when Jay is being brought to the table. There's a lot of different play
Especially so,
styles
yes.
between how Jay likes to play, and remember, Lalzi likes to play. Lalzi is
Yes.
much more like a father-like kind of figure.
Hmm.
Jay kind of leaves you to your own devices. If you
Hmm.
follow up, that's good. If you don't
Yes,
follow up, then it's on you,
I
man, because
agree.
I'm
Yeah.
doing my thing. So I think there's a lot of differences in terms of the play styles between both of the roams, and
Yes.
especially the EXP laners, Diablo versus Closer back in the day.
Hmm.
Remember in season 4, 5, and 6, you have Diablo who's actually playing all these bursty type heroes. The Benedettas are being pulled out.
Yes.
You have the Badangs, or the damage Badangs actually
Hmm.
pulled out by
The
Diablo. The
Khaleeds.
Khaleeds are being pulled out as well. And I think the core difference is that Closer is a more passive EXP
Yes.
laner
A lot more
compared
utility. Yeah.
more utility, more
Technically works
passive.
for this current meta as well.
Yeah, I don't see Closer actually diving in as much
Mm.
to the back lines because I don't know if it's the lack of confidence, but it's I guess how RSG wants to play around.
Hmm.
You want to protect the back line as much as
He feels more
possible.
like an anchor of the team, right?
Correct,
He wants
correct.
to be safe, or rather, he wants to keep the mage and as well as the marksman safe, which actually kind of makes sense because Jay is actually a very aggressive roamer. He's the kind that will look for any opportunity and just go straight dive for it.
Yeah.
He's literally the sacrificial lamb of the team, and he's not afraid of sacrificing himself. In fact, even sometimes, he would overestimate the amount of time, or rather the gap between his team and the opponent's team. He will launch an attack, he will go so far and deep in, and the amount of time taken for RSG to travel all the way to J, it would take a little bit too long.
Hmm.
This is one of the core problems that I usually see coming in from Jay, and it's mostly all about initiations.
That's right.
Everything else, when it comes down to tempo, when it comes down to rotations, I think that Jay has got it handled pretty well.
Correct. I mean, Jay's playing chess. The rest of the squad is playing checkers. He's always 2 steps ahead. Everyone else needs to really match his pace. I think if they sort that out, if they're able to sort that out, I think RSG has a very strong chance, and we might be able to see 3 games coming up from this best of 3. But
Hmm.
then again, going into the draft, Coach Carrot starting to ban off with Matilda. Coach Mooks doesn't want to deal with Sayla's Loyi. Remember last week we talked a lot about RSG, but right now turning the tables over to Evil, the villains
Hmm.
coming to play. We have the Baxia and the Phovius on both sides of the map,
Yep.
and you have Sailor's Loyi literally just quote unquote AFKing in the mid bush and waiting for the right time to use that diversion. So Amux doesn't want to deal with that, banning both of these out so that they don't have to deal with the hyper momentum that Evil likes to play around, especially in the mid to late stages of the game. Coach Carrot, juice in, chip, taken off.
I think that the mobility might actually be the name of the game for evil, right? As such, I would like to expect that there will be a lot of assassin junglers such as Hayabusa as well as Joy being drafted out, much less of a Lucas. I would
Mm,
still believe that they would want to have a Lucas, but with the Kalia currently available, that might be their first and first and foremost most priority pick, and just kind of yielding the Lucas over to the side of RSG.
Yeah, I think quite a bit open right now. Usually we'll see a Kalea or a Kimmy right here since the
Yep.
Juicing's been banned out. You don't really have any counter in lane except if Roy picks up the Farsa to match the tempo that
Okay.
the Kalea and the Juicin might be able to bring, or the Kimmy might be able to
Oh,
bring. So it will be the Farsa and the Phoveus. The Farsa and the Phoveus will be picked up.
Barca and the Pobius.
Yeah.
Okay. Suyo is available. Gatakacha is also available. That could be a possibility. I'm not too sure if the Evil will want to play that Gatakacha for themselves, but it is, of course, a very good answer over to Fasa
Yep.
being a sitting duck. Otherwise, you can always draft out an assassin for your team and just kind of play around it. Because now Kalia is a very flexible pick, right? You
Hmm.
kind of want to go for pickoffs. At this point in time, I'm just expecting to see a Hayabusa on their end. But finally, we are gonna be looking at a Kimi or Glue even. Okay, so
Glue.
they just want to beat down the EXP lane at this point in time and
Yeah.
just kind of focus on that.
Yeah. I think Glue and Phoveus are sort of like very evenly matched in the EXP lane. Glue really needs that distance because you throw down your skill one and you walk towards it, try to make it explode and try
Mm,
to get a mini stun off. Phoveus has a similar kind of range with his first skill.
mhm.
So if it's sort of like an EXP to EXP clash, it would be an even matchup. So Glue is able to match the tempo for Phoveus. I'm just more worried about the mid lane that Kimi and Kalea would bring in comparison to Farsa. If Coach Mooks actually picks up the Gatokacha in the second phase, that's going to be spelling disaster for Evil because there's not a lot of protection on that back line. You have Glue that's very high committal, especially with the possession from that grab and the split. But Kalea also very high committal because once you jump in, the only way to escape is only if you catch someone else.
So at this point in time, RSG actually do have quite a lot more damage within their mix. Quite a bit of them, or rather all of them, are level 4 dependent. They're very ultimate dependent. So if Evil will want to move towards a certain direction, especially since they have a glue, glue is a winning matchup in the EXP only pre-level 4. So
Mm.
if you want, you can be a lot more aggressive in that start. We got Kalia that is really good at tempo building as well. So the next two upcoming picks, unfortunately, when it comes down to gold lane, I don't really expect too much. Kimi can still be a relatively good pick for them since it's not exactly super ultimate reliant. You still have very good damage over time in the early stages. So looking at the roaming trio, unfortunately, I think that Lucas would be a okay. Never mind.
Yeah, Lucas is
Yeah,
already banned out by Mooks. I mean,
Lucas
he
is
smelled a
supposed to be a
mile away.
yeah. We want to look for snowbally heroes.
Correct.
So in this case, fighter junglers might actually be the better choice over assassin junglers.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Suyo's
Alpha is good.
already banned out.
Oh, okay.
Very
Yeah.
very snowbally, very early game centric.
Mm.
Then Bray back to his roots, back to the Hayabusa. I think this might be able to play out well. However, I don't see that RSG has a lot of tanks right now. The only tank that they have currently in their draft is the Phoveus. Very good in
Yes.
just catching that back line, trying to catch and throw Kimmy out of position. But then again, I think that last slot would be one of the most crucial ones. The only option right now I can think of is maybe the Gato Kacha, just to disrupt that, the Kimmy from, you know,
Fair.
from near. Unless you
Yeah.
want to go crazy, play a Beleric against the Kimmy so that you have that thorns that mitigate and reflect the damage
Yeah.
over the Kimmy.
I think that that could be possible. But okay, Snowbally, I would say that Fanny is definitely works out as a Snowbally hero. And in the meantime, they also picked up the Bruno. So they're literally going to go double down in the early stages. They
Yeah.
want to win the laning, and that will be able to translate over to the early game, just so that, it will take a little bit more time for RSG to
Ooh,
even come up on top.
look at the Franco
Okay.
for Jay.
We're starting to see an influx of
Interesting.
Francos now. We
Yeah.
do have Rapidud that managed to play 2 games against their opponents. I can't exactly remember whom again, but
It was,
those
I think, either absolute, no, it was
Rapidud from Absolute
absolute
Zero.
zero.
So they go up against the
Kings. Yeah,
Kingdom
Esports.
Esports. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was Rapidud playing 2 Francos, both of which are a win. So
Mhm.
technically speaking, if I'm not too, if I'm not wrong, this is a 100% win rate Franco at this point in time. And if whether Jay is gonna bring it down to 66.66666% or
You know,
not.
I think it's a viable pick right here because it is the hook itself. It's a deterrent factor from you to come any closer,
Uh-huh.
and Jay plays a lean mean Franco. We've seen it way back in like season 7, season 8. But ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're jumping into the land of Dawn for the first match of today.
What the hell was that? I heard someone farting.
Was it a
That's
helicopter?
A very long fart.
It's like a helicopter kind of sound.
But anyways, as we move on over to the land of Dawn, we've got Evil and
Ooh.
RSG going. Okay.
How is he there so fast?
I don't know, but this is gonna be fun and exciting.
He
But
doesn't
of
know.
course, I'm not too sure how this relates, or rather how this reacts over to the stream or on site. So I'm not gonna mention anything that is too too blatant at this point in time. But as expected, we've got Gear that will be able to dominate in the early stages. He still has a flicker, so if he manage to find that opportunity, he can always just go blasting with that.
Yeah. I didn't know how Jay actually went through to that to the brush so fast. Way faster than I actually expected. We're giving a lot of information though. Powerful, starting on the aggression, getting the hit onto Jay, misses the hook, forced to use a flicker out of the way. And now, Evil does have the upper hand in terms of the aggressive bundling in the jungle. Man, this is looking like a very tight matchup. I think both teams in the early game don't want to make too much of a big move. You don't want to make too much aggressions that lead to your downfall in the mid game because, as you said, Abstract, RSGSG really needs that level 4 power spike to come on, especially for all of them. You got the Bloody Hunt from Jay as well, which is able to catch Vincent off from mid-air, creating a lot of opportunities for themselves as well. And you get the blind hook to check the bushes and maybe go for a little bit of pickoffs. But from the top side though, CS Ven does have the wave shoving in. You might be able to get a early rotation down to the mid side. Closer force the sticker out. Get a possession down. There's the first blood over to Gear from the mid side. Get a hook.
Ooh.
Down to Powerful, force that use that flicker. Feather airstrike will take him down the process as well. Bray starting the turtle off alone. Will be a 1v1. Bray gets the Retribution steal. The Prince has returned. We got the grab coming in. He's all alone though. As Gear slays him off. But he will be facing off against 2, healing everything back up. I think he might be able to come for this. Oh! He's got possession once again, getting pulled back here. What was that? He's still buying so much time for the rest of Evil to come in. The villains are starting this game strong. He's still standing up. He was a fifth of his health, and now he's back to half. And they get another kill in their name.
Closer is actually super tanky from all of that. Boy, oh boy. Even though we talked about the fact that Evil wants to play in the early stages of the game, regardless of that, they actually don't have that much damage because, as you can see, we've got the Closer, which is the Phobius. He actually deals crazy bunch of damage. If you include like the Infinite Pursuit, he just keep going on and on and on, slam and slam and slam. RSG, they generally just have very good damage, so we gotta have to really look out for that.
To the airstrike and Tsunami Slam into the turn they go. Jay will fall as RSG loses yet another one. Vincent coming in for a cleanup crew. He's gonna shoot a Wiki Shadow kill. Trying to kill Vincent off from mid-air, but won't get out without a fight though. He's got Powerful taking. He's soaking up a lot of damage from Roy. Will fall as CS falls as well. It's a trade for trade, a tit for tat. And here comes Sailor though. Might be able to take Roy down. Gets the stun up as Roy able to just hide away just in time to take Ben along down with him.
That's a very important kite coming in from Sailor. But regardless, this is pretty much an expected outcome. 7-4 with a shy bit of 1,000 gold lead in favor for Evil. What they want to do is a very micro-based composition for Evil. They want to win in every single team fight, or maybe not team fight. They want to win in these skirmishes. They want to pick off as much as possible. They even have Powerful as the Kalia. They have that pick up potential. They have Vincent that will be able to deal damage.
Oh. Big play from Closer. Getting pulled back into the midst of that back line. You got Jay dealing a lot of damage as well. Closer falls. No more Phobius for the side of RSG. Franco might be next on the chopping block, but Jay walks away safe and sound.
This is a game that requires RSGSG to kind of hold their fort and just ensure that they will be able to make it away or make it into the mid stages of the game. Because at this point in time, all you're expecting and all you're seeing is Evil will just be throwing bodies at RSG.
Always blocking the last weakness point. You're gonna purify CS though. Will fall in the end. Goon Squad comes in. The villains will show dominance in the early stage.
Expected outcome still. still very, very expected. 5 minutes into the game now, we have entered the end of the laning phase and now in the early stages, where the turrets are all dependent on the siege that Evil have got. So at least now they managed to bring down the T1 turret up top.
Well, Vincent gets a shadow kill onto himself, able to cable himself to safety. But Evil now shifting the composition a little bit. 1, 2, 4. Here comes the flicker play into the turret. They go. As Gear left all alone underneath the turret, taking too much damage. Won't be able to soak up this time around as the T1 mid falls to the hands of the villains.
Good enough. Even though they did not manage to get a kill down on Roy, although it was definitely a respectful play coming from Gear, but not quite there. But at least the main thing is they take objectives down, which is T1 in the middle lane. This will allow them to be increasingly aggressive and push RSG to have even lesser amount of gold. This is gonna snowball.
Powerful. Bloody Hunt. Stop. Suppress. Thrown to the graveyard. RSG. Good pickoff right there.
It is a one lifetime opportunity to land a Bloody Hunt with so many other of your teammates just around the brush as well. If you don't have that opportunity, honestly, it's actually going to be a little bit difficult to catch up onto the kill. Kalia, given the amount of mobility that he has. But Flicker has already been expended. That is actually a very crucial Flicker because we do have got the turtle that's coming up right now. I'm not too sure whether it will come back in time or not for the next turtle, but hopefully it does. No, sorry, next Lord actually.
Easy turtle take for the side of Evil. As Bray out of position, busy trying to find trades up on that top side. So far, Evil still leading the charge with 3,000 gold. If they can maintain this mid lane aggression, they might be able to take down RSG and see through that snowball to the late game.
Early game compositions are always going to be really tough to hold on to. They may have had a pretty decent early game. They only have got about 3,000 gold lead, but hold on a second, bottom.
Nice hook, but Tsunami Slam back in closer. Taking on 3, gonna fire airstrike, dealing tons of damage down. Gear with the split, able to get that in, able to sustain a little bit more till his mates go back to safety. They lost 2, but they managed to just cut their losses right now on the mid side. Vincent, 1v1 on top of the shadow kill, able to cable himself safe. Saved by the minions too.
I think that largely we don't really see Vincent in team fights all that much, or these kind of skirmishes all that much, but at least, and probably, we want to play more on the macro, right? Because the moment that they kind of stop getting that advantage of the early game, they no longer have the goal advantage, that is when they will want to look for other avenues of winning. This is a very front-to-back competition, hands down front-to-back, right? With the Bruno onto the side, their main win condition, but they can actually just focus and see what Vincent is able to bring to the team. He does have very good split potential, with not much people being able to catch up onto him, except for Bray.
Now, 20 seconds till the Lord spawns up. RSG does have the aggression, does have the damage from that Pharsa and that 1-1 alone. Oh, Gear taking a little bit too much damage, able to walk himself safe and out of the way as RSG says their sights up on that top side. They see where Vincent is, but the hook lands and down goes Powerful. He's gonna fire airstrike to try to zone everyone out of the way. Gonna flank from Vincent as well, trying to find his way down to Roy. But Gear is left alone, also his own devices as is closer. Sent to the graveyard, they go. Might be able to take out Jay though. One more hit won't be enough as Gear falls to the hands of RSG. They will be able to blitz down that Lord. Will be a very tricky situation for RSG to try to contest for this one. Out of position, out of the way. Evil snatches this one up.
Okay, so with the Lord taken down, it's all fine and dandy, and that should give them a bit more leeway and breathing space. Now, of course, a quick little roundup. We do have to slide the fight that eventually split up into 2 is a EXP lane for an EXP lane. So there's not too much losses coming in from RSG. In fact, they have hit a little bit better because I think that they managed to bring down Powerful, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-for-1 trade, definitely towards RSG, and I think it's slowly creeping in. The Lord pick though, with the Lord advantage, I think that this is going to help them a little bit more in recuperating in the previous fight.
Abstract, you know, from an assassin standpoint, typically you're not used to you're used to go for pickoffs, but in the
Yes.
late game you're more of a split pusher, and I think
Yes.
Fanny in this point has the advantage over Hayabusa because the shadows from Bray right now if you're not level 15. But hold on a second. Speaking of shadows though, shadow kill almost
Ooh.
taking Vincent out of the way. It's a 1v1 anime mid-air fight, but Bray will not be able to take Vincent down with him.
For more of these turrets gonna be taken down with the middle lane T2. Bottom lane T2 is definitely gonna go down due to that single Lord that is marching in. So no problems whatsoever, and with the top lane being very heavy as well, Evil will now have got a bunch of turrets to their name, and this is gonna give them a lot of money.
Oh, trapped in. The burst comes in from Vincent, though might not be enough. Gonna weakness points. The crossbow Tang will chase and keep Vincent out safe as now.
We're
Now-
continuing to see Evil hold on to the lead. They lost the lead previously, but just because of the Lord, they now have got more lead. This is 4,000 gold worth of lead, and this can actually bring them to a pretty good spot from here. I think that Bruno has already, definitely Bruno has reached power spike quite some time ago. CS is slowly starting to be there, but Bruno will still definitely win in the 1v1, not like we're gonna see that anyways.
Contesting on the purple buff. I think Jay wants to go for a nice day of fishing. But Attraction Pulse, unable to hit. Got a better airstrike as well. Tsunami Slam, closer, taking a little bit too much damage, gets burst, annihilated by the side of the villains. They take one, they'll leave. It's RSG. Man, they're ramping up the aggression, but Closer can't seem to soak up the damage enough for the team to come in for that backup. I think if Roy was able to hold back the Fred airstrike a little bit longer, then RSG might have a better shot. It takes some time for the Hayabusa to find an angle onto the back line. So, I mean, then again, I think it was a very messy team fight for that one. I think Closer shouldn't have thrown his body in like that and try to layer in the team fights a little bit more effectively.
I do gotta have to say that the timer is on to Evil though. This first Lord is a given for them to take. The second Lord is the Lord that requires them to end the game or at least bring down every single one of the inhibitor turrets. With all these inhibitor turrets down, it will further give them an advantage in taking the third Lord. Because by the time it hits the third Lord, the timing is more or less right for RSG to have a very equal or more advantageous fight for the Lord, and only macro will allow Evil to get an edge over RSG. So this is the direction that we are gonna go. Macro for Evil is important from this point onwards in order to win the game. In the meantime, micro is important for RSG to win the game. They need to be able to ensure that they will deal with the waves well enough, but do not lose additional members up to the top or rather the opposite side of where the Lord is. They need to start winning fights from the second Lord onwards.
Yeah, I think the damage from RSG is not enough as of now. The
As
Feather
of now,
Airstrike,
yes.
yes, deals a lot of burst damage, but once you get the Bloody Hook in, CS needs some time to pop all the weakness points before the true damage actually comes through, and you also have the Crossbow of Tang that you can play around with, but you can't rely on the 1-1 alone. Now, what is the play now for the side of RSG? Because the aggression coming through, you get a Bloody Hunt onto Gear, we'll be taking a lot of damage, Crossbow of Tang soars into the sky, and takes CS one down, but Closer falls. So is Gear. No more EXP laners for both of these two teams. Jake goes fishing, but misses the big bait. Ven, all alone, able to kite around, bobs and weaves, and out of the way to safety. This Evil still playing that macro game. Look at the top side, already pushing in.
There's only one thing that keeps coming into my mind whenever you say fishing. Morning!
Morning, nice day for fishing, ain't
Good day for fishing, ain't it?
it?
I clearly watch
Totally,
way too
totally.
much content.
Yeah, me too.
Clearly way too much.
Oh, I get you, I get you.
Yeah.
Now in this Lord though, Jay constantly going fishing,
Yes.
trying to get a big bait.
Oh?
You the big bait, getting caught up with the Tsunami Slam. Over the wall they go. Closer left all alone onto the back line. But here comes Bray. Find an angle onto Powerful though.
Powerful.
Might not be able to take him out as the heals come in. The sustain from the
Oh!
back line is too much as Bray falls. Gets a pure wipe out. Look at the back. You got Vincent taking everyone down. They might be able to cycle this through, Abstract.
Oh my goodness, that's absolutely. Oh wait, Vincent.
Oh,
Taking a little bit too much damage, but I think they're fine. They've got a full wave ahead with all 5 men that is still alive. They didn't even need to go for the Lord. In fact, they take this game with their early game advantage.
man, what went wrong? I saw the backline that Bray was in, but Vincent just easily clearing out
Oh my
3 members
goodness.
from the side of RSG, and no one could stop them. That's why I said like the playstyle that Closer brings, it does not match the tempo that Jay wants to bring to the table for RSG.
Yes.
For Closer, he wants to go forward, but whenever he goes forward, then therein comes Vincent from the back line. He finds the flank, he finds the angle, he goes straight for CS, and when your 1-1 is out of the picture, when Roy is out of the picture, it's pretty much it. You don't really have your main damage dealers, and yes, Bray is able to deal a lot of damage, but he's only so reliant on his skills. Once his shadows popped off, he can't escape.
Ironically, because of this lineup where we have a Franco onto Jay instead, and with a Phoveus onto Closer, their roles actually swapped. So with the way that they play, it's supposed to be swapped. So what happens is that Closer was originally and always has been the anchor of the team,
Yeah.
whereby wherever he moves, or rather, wherever the mage moves, he moves. He made sure that the backlines is gonna be safe. But in this case, because of a Franco, your bloody hunt is just so important in mitigating any form of assassination attacks coming in from Vincent. As such, the backline, the backline with the Fasa as well as the 1-1 really needs the help of the Franco. I believe that he actually did stay with them for most of the fights. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much okay. But Closer will then go very far away because he's a Phoveus. He's very committal. But that is where the problem comes in. Whenever the Phoveus goes in and becomes super committal, we've got the Franco that's all the way far back because of the fact that he needs to be the anchor. We've got the 1-1 that has range. We have got the high ground coming from Fasa. That's all fine and dandy. We got the Hayabusa that, you know, dives over the back lines. In theory, this all sounds great. But the moment that Closer goes a little bit too far, because the opponent knows how to retreat,
Yeah.
then Phoveus is completely out of the picture already. Is a dead Phoveus. You're peeling for no one. None of your backlines can deal damage. And what happens? The assassin comes in and zone the backlines further away, increasing that gap.
Yeah. It looks like RSG can't seem to close that team fight gap in it. I mean, then again, 100%
Yes.
agree with all your points.
Mhm.
I think that play in particular,
Grandpa
very
is down.
smart from Powerful.
Yes.
They saw the hook coming in from Jay. That means 8 to 10 seconds without Jay going fishing once again.
Yes.
So he knows that, okay, Jay's in there. Let's try to tsunami slam at least one person. We've got the damage to deal with him. He blindly dives in like an Olympic diver, catches Jay, and Jay retaliates with the Bloody Hunt, try to delay the Tsunami Slam, gets stunned up and mitigated by the Worldy from the Bruno, and the rest, as they say, is history. So very, I think, too panicky with the Bloody Hunt. You should save it for Vincent, but I mean, as the game is rolling down, there's a lot of aggression coming to play. You can't be for sure. Like you want to go for the Fanny, but like you don't know when the Fanny's coming in. At least go for an easy pick off. The only issue is RSG doesn't have that damage. Look at the items from both teams. Evil is almost fully built. They're like, man, they've been in the gym for like 10 years. They're super power spiked up already. So I mean, at the end of the day, very close matchup from Evil and RSG. It's just that last fight, Evil still has that magic.
Okay. So this is great for Evil. They played towards their win condition. They
Mhm.
knew exactly how to play around their momentum as well, and they eventually got themselves the win. RSG, they are very ultimate reliant, so they need to play for all these team fights, which technically they did, but with that small little problem which I mentioned previously just now. I would definitely say that Closer might not be that comfortable with the Phoveus in some
Yeah.
sense. I think that he goes a little bit too crazy whenever he realizes that there is the Astaros, or rather he's got the mark on the
Yeah.
opponents.
He just jumps in.
He just jumps in, yeah. So it's very it's very trigger happy, and I think that that's not exactly the way to play this Phoveus in this game,
Yeah.
because you don't have an AOE crowd control. If you have that, then that's fine. If you have
Yeah.
a Gato Kacha, you're fine. If you have a Badang, you're fine.
Yeah.
But He is the lone wolf in the front lines. Jay isn't even supposed to be in most of these team fights as the frontliner because just take a look at his items. It suggests what he's doing.
Very supportive, very
He's very
utility.
supportive.
Yep.
So in some sense, he's an enchanter support. He's
Mm,
enchanting for his team by suppressing people down. And then he wants to get more suppression because of the ultimate reduction.
yeah.
That's all he wants.
I mean, to your point, yeah, I totally didn't see that coming for RSG. They don't really have a lot of AoE crowd control. So, yes, you do get bloody hunts, but when evil overturns and counter reacts to that team fights, there is no way to disperse the team fight and get away to safety. Sure, 1-1 has a built-in purify. Sure, you get wings by Roy, but it's just not enough because you need someone to stun them in
Yes.
or sacrifice themselves
Keep
to
them
be able
in.
to get away.
There is not even a retreat play available for RSG.
That's right.
All they can do is just use their own mobility and get themselves out, and that means that they are leaving 2% in the lurch, which is the frontliners. They are very okay. One, the Fulvis is very committal. Jay is just stuck there. He can't. You expect him to kind of like shake his way back home?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not doing that. You have a 1-1 that can hop to safety. You have a Fasa that can unfairly fly away, leaves everyone away. And of course, we have a random assassin, or rather, random ninja that somehow can teleport to his clones. So that's fine and all. But all in all, I think that RSG's lineup is lacking in that control. They don't have a way to literally control a fight. In the early stages, they have the damage. We would expect to see more damage because of the Infernal Pursuit. However, you are going up against an early game team that will have an advantage in terms of gold. That means that their items is definitely going to be way better than yours. Whatever base damage that you have, the raw damage that you have off of the Phobius' Infernal Pursuit is all going to be negated.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, right? Gear was outrightly in the early game. Did you see that 1v4? He bought so much time for Ven to go back home, get that reset, come back into the picture, and for the rest of the team to really come back and counteract that team fight. So that was phenomenal, phenomenal play by Gears Glue. But to be honest, though, everyone at Evo really played their hearts out in this entire match. You got Powerful, who was sacrificing himself, trying to eat the bloody hunt, so that the rest of the team knows that okay, he doesn't have to suppress anymore. We can go in, we can win team fights, and I think that was really crucial. And even though he was killed 5 times, he was commandeering the entire and steering the ship where the evil is trying to go towards from the graveyard. So I think that was a pretty good, you know,
Mhm.
overall match from the side of Team Evil.
Yep.
The question is for you, who do you think the actual MVP is? Because every one of them played to their strengths.
Actual MVP. If we kind of take away all of if we don't look at stats, right? I look at tempo.
Yeah.
I definitely want to look at tempo. I want to see. I want to know who is the one that really sets the pacing of the team in order to get themselves to this stage. I personally would say Gear.
Yeah, I
He's
would
kind of
agree.
like the hidden hero. He does very invisible movements and invisible plays whereby RSG don't feel that coming, right?
Yep.
It's a very minuscule little snowflake that eventually became a snowball because the other players pitched in, right? But all in all, this is a composition that just works out very well for Evil. The
Yeah.
win condition of Evil can only be stopped by a single bloody hunt. While in the meantime, RSG's only win condition can be started with a bloody hunt.
Uh, yeah, I think you hit it right on the nose, to be honest. And I do have to say, like, the interaction between Kalea and Glue, if Glue is down low with low HP, you get a lot of sustain, a lot of heals back up when you use your split, and you get a nice possession onto someone. But not only that, you have the Kalea coming in with the passive as well, so you heal the lowest member of your team. So I think that one fight that turned the tides of the battle for Evo and RSG was honestly in the early game before that first turtle actually spawns up. MVP though won't be Gear, but honorable mention to him though it will be Vincent as Fanny 7-1 and 2. You have 56% total kill participation, flying all over the map, zipping, zapping, and just dodging the Wiggy shadow kills from Bray.
Yep. So of course, with the cables from the side of Vincent, it definitely will have presence all across the map. He's getting massive farm all across. He's more or less the POS one in this game, right?
Yep.